this evening, our first person on the double Chaconia segment is Millie Maingot. Now, the Fyzabad Regional Community Complex, in June every year, we had, I say had because we didn't have it for 2 years, Fyzabad Appreciation Week. And within this week, we have a day that is called the History of Fyzabad. That's where we get to learn about all of past Fyzabad persons' names and families and persons who came, persons who left, etc. And we did some interviews, and this is one of the first interviews that we did. And we interviewed Miss Maria Griffith, who spoke about her, I think it was her grandmother, Millie Maingot. Millie Maingot was someone who sold in the market in Fyzabad many, many years ago. And it was a legacy because one of her daughters did the same thing. And now her one of the great-grandchildren is doing the same thing at the Fyzabad Market. Rich history about Millie Maingot this evening will be read by, I think it's her great-granddaughter, Antosha Khadaroo. Good evening, Antosha. And you can correct me if I am wrong.
Good afternoon.
Hi.
Good afternoon.
Welcome.
Thank you. It was indeed a pleasure being asked to do this reading, very unexpected, but glad to be a part of it nonetheless. So with your introduction, well, I am the great-granddaughter of Amelia Georgiana Daniel, also known as Millie Maingot. I am the daughter of the contributor, Miss Maria Griffith, and I will now do a quick piece regarding that very wonderful history of Millie Maingot and her contribution to the Fyzabad community. A lot of the elderly people would be familiar with her, and by extension, her daughter, Pearlie Maingot, who is now deceased, Michael, who is our grandson, who is also deceased. So we lost a few of them last year. But I will now start. So Elsa Maingot, who is also deceased, we lost her. That would have been my grandmother. She died last year. She resided in England. So yeah, we lost a few last year, right? So Elsa Maingot, daughter of Amelia Millie Maingot, gave birth to Maria Jeanette Griffith, who fondly remembers and shared her family history. Maria worked with the Superior Regional Corporation, and she is now retired, but is a part-time caterer, works part-time with URP. She is vigorously involved in community work, and through her interaction with the community, boasts of hosting the best annual children's Christmas party in the village for children from all over Fyzabad, and also less fortunate children from various children's homes. The matriarch of the Maingot family is Amelia Georgiana Daniel, who was originally from 45 St. Vincent Street, Tanapuna. Amelia, fondly called Millie, was married to Prince Maingot, and together they had 4 children: Pearlie, Elsa, Harold, all of which are deceased, and the remaining surviving sibling, Marjorie. Amelia was a vendor plying her trade from Tanapuna to Fyzabad, and in those days, these vendors were called marchands. She purchased goods in Port of Spain and came to rural areas to sell. She chose to come to Fyzabad. Millie met Prince on her visits to Fyzabad. She would usually come on a Friday to sell in the Fyzabad and the Forest Reserve markets, and would usually stay on after sale to attend the dances that were held in the Emporium Hall with her friends. She met her then husband at these dances, and eventually she married and resided in Easy Street, Fyzabad. Maria went on to remind us of a gate in the Crest Camp area, which is dubbed the Mingo Gate. This was so remembered after Prince Mingo, who worked as the watchman or gatekeeper in those days for many, many years. Millie Georgiana Daniel, Mingo's father, Bobo Daniel, came from St. Vincent. Mommy, well, I will refer to her as Mommy. Mommy was not too familiar with her grandfather because he died at a fairly young age. After settling in Fyzabad, Millie set up 4 stores at the Fyzabad Market, and there she sold her soursop, ground provision, the sweetest sapodillas, Lisbon yams, and many more items which she sourced from the Vincentian and Grenadian sellers in Port of Spain. Pearly, Mingo, joined her mother at the market stores upon her death. Pearly then continued for many years, following in her mom's footsteps. Pearly, Mingo's son, Michael, who is also deceased, he continued to sell for a number of years at the Fyzabad Market. And Pearly, as most of us can remember, she maintained a stall on the main road, Fyzabad, just opposite Garcia's Pharmacy, which she ran for over 30 years, which with along her fresh produce, she also sold the best sauce and black pudding. And most people will tell you, you could get a good piece of old talk when you stood by Pearly's store. Millie was fluent in patois and spoke it among the elders in the village. The younger generation never learned the patois as it was used as a secret language for big people talk by the elders. Mommy's father was superintendent of police, and of course, with the passing, during the Black Power Revolution in the 70s, his home was burnt in Port of Spain, and Mommy came down to Fyzabad to live with her grandmother. Of course, she remembered having to help her grandmother prepare the sauce and prepare the pudding and all the treats that Pearly continued to sell at her stall in Fyzabad. The Prince and Amelia Maingot family tree now spans over 4 generations. And from their 4 grandchildren, there are approximately 90 grandchildren and 60 to 70 plus great-grandchildren and great-grand as well as great-great-grand. Some of the family names which are associated with Millie Maingot's generation are the Atwells, the Daniels, Gervais, Jones, Griffith, Khadaroo. The land and house located in Easy Street still remains a family home, and all of her, some of her remaining grandchildren still reside there. So I could call some of the names that some people will be familiar with. So we have Ralphie, Rudy, Jacqueline, just to name a few, who still reside at the Easy Street home of Amelia Maingot. She was a very vibrant and, how to put it, fighter, survivor, in order to keep her family going, to take care of her children and all of that. And again, it was indeed a pleasure to just give a little snippet of Amelia's life and the Maingot legacy in Fyzabad. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Antosha. Thank you so much. And I am so happy that this piece could start off our double Chaconia segment, because this is coming from Fyzabad. And when you come to Fyzabad and you hear about the Fyzabad market as it used to be, this name, Millie Maingot, is synonymous with that and the Maingot family. Yes, and just as Antosha read, it's just as it is. She was a fighter. I never met her, but I knew the deceased Pearly Maingot, her daughter, And Pearlie was a fighter as well. Thank you, Antosha.
Yes, thank you for the honor. Thank you.
Thank you. And the sweetan passed down to your mama.
Yes, it did. Yes.
And to you as well, because I see that you are doing some stuff there, wines and whatnot. Yes.
Yes, I am. Yes, yes.
Awesome. So entrepreneurship started with Millie and continues.
Yes, it has. Yes, it has. Yeah.
And continues. Thank you. Thank you for that awesome read. And thank you for making the time to be with us this evening.